click record, and I'm going to mute everybody, and then Raquel, I'll let you intro. Okay, go. Okay, so tonight, Jessica and I wanted to talk to you about recruiting. And honestly, I think we need to talk about this more often than we do. Jessica and I went to Super Saturday. It was a full day. We had a lot of conversations about this, and one of the speakers was talking about recruiting. And it just brought me back to when we first started this business. I'm going to intro it with a funny story about me and Jessica. Jessica, you remember when I was like, we're going to do this, and I knew we needed to build a team. Like, obviously, the mixture of how you grow this business is you have clients and you have team members. And if you really want to have quick success, you need to have both, right? So you can obviously build a business with just your customers and your clients, but if you were looking to take this to the next level, you also need to know you have to build a team at the same time. And I remember Jessica specifically telling me, well, we don't know what we're doing yet. So what about we just wait for 6 months until we got a handle on it, and then we can start adding to our team? And I was like, I don't think that's how this works.
That is exactly. We were in my old office where I was at GM, and I totally did not. And Raquel's like, no, I don't think that's how the business works. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you can't make money if you can't make real money, and you can't really grow without a team. And I'm like, oh, like I totally didn't get it.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that you understand that too. Obviously, our goal, I think that I always say we have the cure, right? On one hand, we have the cure for being overweight and not knowing how to eat properly. And on the other hand, we have a cure for not being broke. Okay. So honestly, I feel like we can cure everybody's problems with one hand, right? But you have to have clients, and you also have to have team members to help you help others in a bigger, grander way. And I know a lot of us are in here to help people because we've had such amazing results and we want to share it. But I can only do so much. Jessica can only do so much. But as a team, the ripple effect of what our team has done is incredible. And that takes all of us doing our part. So that's kind of why we really want to talk about the importance of recruiting. But I also want to let you know that I know a lot of times people are like, but I'm still learning. I don't know what I'm doing. And I will tell you, I recruited Jessica and Genevieve, and I had no idea what I was doing, clearly, but we learned together. And I think that has really solidified our bond and helped us, and we learned what works and what doesn't. The beautiful thing of where you are now is you don't have to make the same mistakes we did. So you could literally have signed up as a coach yesterday and recruit people today. And guess what? You have all of our systems to fall back on. You don't have to be like reinventing the wheel like we did. So if you're ever thinking, well, I should probably wait until I get a better handle on what I'm doing, I'm going to stop you right there because no. That's not an excuse. We're here to help you. And I know that if you've gotten this business that you both want to be in the best shape of your life and you also want to have some financial freedom. So we're going to help you do to both. So today we're going to really talk about how to recruit, how to talk about the business, how to invite, what do you do when they say they want more information. We're just going to stick there. And then later on, probably after we get back from Mexico, we'll talk about, okay, you have a new coach. Now what? What do we do now, right? And of course, if you recruit between now and then, which I hope you do, just know you can always go to your upline coach. If you bring on a new coach, a business builder for the first time, you should be going to your upline coach and having them train them. Okay, so just know that. But again, we'll get you set up with that information. Today is just the how to recruit. So first and foremost, what I want to talk about is social media. Obviously, we talk about social media all of the time. But if you were to do a self-audit, this is something that we're doing in our Search to Summit. Genevieve, challenged us. If you were to go back and look in March, how many times did you talk about coaching? Okay, so your homework for today, write that down. How many times on my social media did I talk about coaching? Obviously, we're going to talk about IG stories too. IG stories might be, you can't go back really. Actually, you can look at your archive, but that might be a lot. But just you kind of know how much you talk about coaching and you get what you post for. So if you're only talking about the fitness, you're only talking about the challenge groups, you're only talking about transformations, guess what? Most likely, that's what you're going to attract. And I will be the first to say, Jessica and I, because it's easier to fall back on that for us, is that if I'm not super intentional, that's all I'll talk about. journey, my clients' journeys, fitness, what I'm eating. And I had to do a self-audit to be like, do people know, A, that I have a team that does this with me, and B, that they could join me? So that's what I want you to know. How many times did you post about coaching? And do those people know in all of those posts, do they know that they can join you and do it too? Right? Because we do a lot of different breadcrumbing about what we do as coaches, and that's great. And you may have talked about coaching, but do they know that they can do what you do and that you can help them do it? I think that is huge. So that's your homework for tonight. Look how many times you talked about coaching. We will give you a posting calendar. We actually have a couple that we can, once we post the call recording, we will post an actual posting calendar, because again, if I'm not super intentional on when I'm posting about coaching, it doesn't happen. Or it's like once every other week. And that's just not enough, especially with the algorithms of how many people are being seen, of like how many people, most likely your people are not seeing it. So you need to talk about it more. If you think you're talking about it too much, that means you're probably talking about it just enough, to be very, very honest. And so really that's kind of what we want to do, is just really going over the audit of your own social media. And then same thing with that is, are you positioning yourself in a way that says, I can mentor you to have success, right? Are you positioning yourself in a way that says, I can help you, I can help mentor you to build a big business? And I know if you're a new coach, that feels really weird. And you're like, well, I don't know if I could. I haven't helped anybody. I haven't helped build a business builder. I haven't helped somebody have success. So what do I do? I know, because I had those thoughts when I first started. I was like, well, I don't know if I can help anybody. Although I believed it, but I wasn't posting about, yes, I can help you. But here's the thing, our team, you're a part of Team VIP. So when you post about how we can help people have success, brag about us as a team, right? You can say you can claim the successes of our team because you're part of it. Does that make sense? So when you post, I want you to really think about positioning yourself as if you're an incredible business builder who can help people get amazing success as a business owner, because you can, because you have access to all of our resources, and we have a lot of successful coaches on this business. But if you're not positioning yourself as somebody who's like, ooh, I do want to earn income from home, but could Stephanie help me do that? I don't know, right? You want to talk again as if I can absolutely help you have success. And I'm calling out Stephanie because I was just on her team call, and I know she can help her team have success, of course. But I don't know if she believed that in the beginning. So she didn't post like it. But guess what? She started posting about it, and guess what? Her team is growing, right? So you get what you post for. How many times are you posting about coaching? Do people know that you have a team and that they can join you? And are you positioning yourself in a way that people are like, you know what? I really do believe she can help me build a successful business from home. Okay. So that's what we want you to do after this call, is kind of do a social media audit. If you're not sure and you need help and you want someone else to do an audit for you, I'm sure your upline would be happy to do that. Right? You just have to be open to constructive criticism. I open myself up to Jessica and Genevieve and Laura and Rachel all the time to be like, what is this? Is this good? Am I posting good or not? And I will tell you, sometimes I don't like what they have to tell me. I'm going to be very honest, but we're here to make each other better. And I open myself up to that. And it is true of like, what, if I didn't know you, would I know I could join you? And sometimes the answer is no, I have no idea what you're doing. Or you seem to be having success, but I didn't even know that anyone else could. So just making time to make that social media audit. Okay, Jessica, I'm going to post it back. I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, so and also a great idea is if you want to have somebody else on Team VIP do a social media audit, that's awesome. Another great idea is to have somebody who knows nothing about Beachbody do a social media audit, because then just say, hey, would you look at my social media? Just look at the last, 7 to 10 posts. And could you tell me what feel, what vibe, what you're pulling from my social media, and see if they tell you, well, it looks like you have a team that I can join. It looks like you have a challenge I can join. You have people getting transformations. Just see what they tell you. Or maybe they're like, oh, it looks like you have kids, or it looks like you have this or that. Because I think from the inside looking out, we're like, well, obviously I'm posting about coaching, but maybe from the outside, if you're not a Beachbody person, because for me, I could look at somebody's post and I could say, okay, I see what they're trying to say here. But maybe from an outsider, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It's just like postings. I think a coach said this weekend, when you're posting and you're recognizing your team, if you have a team member that hits Emerald, let's say, like my coach Tracy, who's on the call, congratulations, just hit Emerald. Instead of me posting about her hitting Emerald, I would post and say she got a pay raise or she got a promotion, something that makes sense to non-Beachbody people, because Emerald means nothing to anybody who's not in the world of Beachbody coaching. So just thinking about, always remember how you were before you got into Beachbody. If it doesn't make sense to somebody who's never seen it or doesn't know about it, then it's not going to attract somebody to message you. And that's the goal, is that you want people reaching out to you. So you want to give them just enough. So definitely with social media, I think getting an audit from somebody who doesn't know anything about Beachbody but knows you well is great. And Raquel and I were talking on like the way home, we were talking about social media, we were going back and forth, and we call each other out a lot on social media. But because I know Raquel so well on a like best friend level, I was able to tell her, like, you know, there's a big part of you that you never talk about. Like, this girl is a hippie, crystal, mindset crazy, but on social media, you wouldn't know that. On TeamVIP, you do, because she's been leaking it. She's coming out of the closet a bit. But I'm like, you got to talk about that, because that's a huge realm, and I don't feel that coming from social media. So really getting people who know like the deep dark you, because that's very helpful. And then once you have those people, so you're posting on your social media content and you're being consistent. If you're not consistent, none of this will work. It just won't. If you show up sporadically and you post about coaching once a month and then you fade out, it won't work. You have to show up every day, so use those calendars. But when you have that, then you have all those people that are liking and commenting on those posts. They're clicking maybe on the stories. They're liking or they're viewing your stories. Any of these people, those are people that are interacting with your social media content, whether it's via story or via post or via video, live video, whatever it might be, they're interacting with you. Those are the people that you're messaging, and you're sending them messages saying, hey, thank you so much for the love and support on my video or my call or my story or whatever about coaching. It's dramatically changed my life. I'm so in love with it. Is it something you'd be open to hearing about? If you look in the chat box, we're going to be copying and pasting some literal example messages that you can send that are short, sweet, and simple. So literally take those from the chat box, copy them, put them on a note in your phone or your computer so that you have them. But the more simple and the more it feels like an actual conversation, the better. Do not send somebody some big old block of text saying, hey girl, saw your feed. I thought you'd be a great coach. I love coaching and here's why. And this is what it's done for me. Like, don't be weird. If you would not naturally have that conversation in a grocery store, don't have it via social media. So people that are already interacting, they're engaging with you, they're liking your stuff, they're viewing your stories, send these people the messages that are in the example on the chat. So they're super, oopsie, let me close this. I'll pull this up so the video recording can see it. So you guys can see this in the chat, but these are great examples. I absolutely love your positivity, the vibe coming from your Instagram. Are you a coach too? This message example would be something that you could send to somebody who you are maybe adding to your network. So they're a new follow. You're searching hashtags, you find this girl, oh my gosh, she's my vibe. I love her stories. I love the way she's posting. I want this girl on my team. You might send her, you might like a couple of photos on her Instagram, and then you would send her a message. And this is how you would start a conversation. This is how you would start a relationship. But if you have people that are already reaching out to you, you can be a bit more bold. If you have a direct coaching invite, if you're saying, I'm looking for my next 4 leaders, or I'm taking on a coach mentorship, if you're directly inviting, same thing if you're doing it for a challenge or coaching. If you're directly inviting from post content, anybody that's liking or commenting on that photo, directly invite them. So, hey, thank you so much. I saw the love of my post about my coaching mentorship group coming up in May. I'm super pumped about it. Would you like some more information? Or just be even more bold. What is your email? I'll send you the details. And then let them tell you yes or no. Let them go MIA, whatever it might be. And not everyone's going to say yes, and that's okay. But the higher number of messages like this that go out each day, the faster your team will grow. And your team is going to take time to grow, and you can increase that by the number of messages that you're sending out. But know this, you're going to have people that go all the way through and become a coach, and they're going to totally fade out the second they come on board. And that's okay. But it can be very discouraging as a new coach. You get on a business builder and you're like, yes, things are taking off. My business is going to explode. And then they don't do anything. They don't get a success club point. They don't sell a challenge pack. They never post on social media. And you feel like you have let them down. You feel like a loser, and you stop posting about coaching. You stop posting on social media. You let one person ruin your business. And I see it happen all the time. And I know how hard it is because it's hard mentally. But you have to know 1 in 10 people is really going to stick with this. 1 in 10 business builders. So if you in your coaching career, maybe you haven't even brought on 10 business builders and you're thinking, oh, I'm doing terrible. Just know you're not. You're not. You just have to fight through it. You just have to get through that flow and that rhythm and keep believing in yourself, even though some people aren't going to be ready to believe in themselves on your team. Like Kristen, who did our call a couple weeks ago, the first time that she became a coach to do a coach. She did nothing. She sold one challenge pack in 6 months, and then she did a fade out and canceled on me. And if I had let that beat me up and ruin my coaching business, then she would have never had the opportunity to come back and crush it like she's doing now. So you have to be that pillar that holds up even when everything else seems like it's not working. And I promise you it'll work out. You just have to keep messaging. It starts with the social media content that Raquel talked about. And then you're messaging people that are liking, viewing your stories, seeing your content, looking on your polls. And as far as stories go, try different things. Because I know for me, and I tell the girls this a lot too, I'll put up a poll about, last night, I put up a poll about being in my pajamas at 4:30 in the afternoon, because that's what I do. And I had this huge response on it. I put up a poll about coaching, crickets. And I'm like, what the heck? I know you see it. Or I have the accidental clicks. And I'll message him, oh, thanks so much. I saw your poll click. Oh, I didn't poll click. I'm like, yeah, you did. But it's whatever, and that ruins your confidence. But that's okay, because then I'll have people that I see seeing it. Those are the people that reach out to me and are like, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm ready for it. So I'm like, okay, you've passed by 18 polls and never once clicked more information. So they're seeing it. And I know sometimes you feel like, I don't want to post about coaching because nobody responds. Or every time I put up a coaching post, my engagement just goes down to 0. And that can be discouraging, but you have to keep it present. If you can't go back through your social media and see that you can be on your team, nobody is seeing it repetitively. And it takes people a long time to see it over and over and over before they're like, okay, I don't know what this girl's doing, but clearly she feels good, she looks good, and she's making money. What do I need to do to get on board that train? But you have to exude that way before they're ready to join you. So sometimes it feels like you're putting out all this effort with no return, and all these messages that people are ignoring, or all these messages where you feel like, is it even working, before you get that return? But it will come. So questions on messaging? I know I went on a couple of tangents. Is that helpful? Is the social media part helpful? Okay, so Raquel, talk about when they say they want more information. So this is super simple too. Don't overthink this process.
Okay, so first of all, I was going to say too, when I talk about coaching on IG stories, I was telling Jessica this, I think about I'm talking to Jessica. And I think about, what would Jessica, because she's like me, would I have reached out to someone? Probably not. I might have participated in a poll, maybe. But this last week I said, if you have even the tiniest inkling that maybe you just want to hear a little bit more about what I do, shoot me a message or just let me know below. Even if it's just the teeniest, tiniest and you're not really sure and it kind of freaks you out, that's okay. Because I know Jessica would never have done that. But I also know she might have had the tiniest inkling. And I was talking to her, and guess what? I got messages from it, and they said, okay, I'm really scared. I've been watching you, and it took 15 seconds of courage, but I wanted to message you and see. Okay, 15 seconds of courage, cool. Here's the other thing. They say they want more info. here's another thing too. I give them options. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited to give you more info on coaching. I kind of have some options for you. We can either jump on a call real quick and we can chat more about it, or I have a video playlist where it kind of talks more about what we do and answers a lot of questions. Which would you prefer? Because there are some people that are super talky and want to get on the phone with me right away. But I also know Jessica, if I didn't know her, would never do that. She would never do that. So I have a video playlist. You all have access to it on TeamVIP Training YouTube that I literally send to them. It's just a sneak peek. It's short. It's literally 40 minutes. We're going to try to keep our sneak peeks significantly shorter, but that's one that we did that was really good. It talks about what we do as a coach, how it works, how we get paid, how we share our journey. It goes over everything. And truly, if I can get people to watch that video, 9 times out of 10, they say, okay, I want to do this. Can we jump on the phone call and talk more about it? So give them options. Do you want to jump on a phone call? Do you want to watch a video? Okay. Most people, I will tell you, if they don't know you, are going to choose the video option just because it's way easier than getting on a phone. So what I do is I send them a video and I say, here's the video. It talks a little bit about what we do and answers a lot of our frequently asked questions. Do you think you'll have time to watch it today or tomorrow? And they usually say, yeah, I think I could probably watch it tomorrow. And then I say, awesome, I'll follow up with you if today's Sunday. I'll follow up with you on Tuesday. Does that sound good? They're like, yeah, that sounds good. And the reason we did this is because if you ever have read Go Pro, it's a network marketing book by Eric Worre, you want to get them to say yes multiple times. Yes, I'll watch the video. Yes, I think I can watch it between now and tomorrow. And yes, you can follow up with me on Tuesday. Okay, so they've said yes like 3 times. Cool. And then it's not a surprise when I follow up on Tuesday and say, hey girl, just calling up to see if you had a chance to watch the video. I'm super excited to answer any of your questions, see what you liked most about it. I have some time available either this evening or maybe tomorrow at lunch. What time works for you to get on a call? And I give them 2 times. Because I don't just leave it open-ended and say, hey, did you get a chance to watch the video? What'd you think? Because a lot of times that's an easy way to ghost. But if I say, hey, can you talk here, that gives them options, and then they're more likely to get on a phone call with me. Okay, does that make sense? Do you see my process behind how I do that? I get them say yes to watching the video. I let them know I'm going to be following up so it's not weird when I do. And then when I do follow up, I give them 2 times of when we can get on the phone call. Okay. What I will tell you, if you're new and you're like, I don't know what to say on a phone call, no worries, because you have an upline coach that would be more than happy to get on a 3-way call with you. I get on a lot of 3-way calls with my coaches. If they're like, I'm not really sure, that's easy to do, and say, awesome. So I'm actually going to get on a call with me and my mentor, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about what we do, and we can all get on there, and I can do all of the talking for you. You can just listen until you feel comfortable. Okay. So again, if you're a new coach and you're not sure what to do, you are super, super supported in that. Does that make sense? And then from there, we just kind of let them know, awesome, super excited to get you started. I'm going to go ahead and send you a link so that you can get your coach package and we can get you up and on your way. And then boom, we're sending share a cart. They're ready to go. Again, people like to be led. So if you just go, I always go in with the intention that they're going to say yes. Why wouldn't they want to be a coach? Right? And I just assume and keep the ball moving that we're going to do this. And here's our next step. People want to be told what to do next. Okay. Now that's not to say I don't get people that tell me, no, it's not for me. Because I do all the time, right? More often I get way more no's than I do yeses. But you know what that does for me? And maybe this is just the way that I'm motivated. In my mind, I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can say no, because honestly, Jessica told me no. And I know that if she didn't know me, she probably would have just said no multiple times, right? Luckily, as my best friend, I think she only told me no like twice. But then I say, you know what, that's fine. And I let that fuel me because I know you're going to keep watching me. And I'm just going to keep talking about how awesome coaching is. Like that fuels me. Like, okay, that's fine. It's not for you. No worries. But I'm going to be talking about how amazing it is until you get FOMO and feel like, dang, maybe I should look into it more. Okay. So that's like, no doesn't bother me at all because I'm like, it's all right. You'll be back around. It's cool. No big deal.
So that answers, Brooke, does that help with your question? No. Does that help with Tracy? Does that help with your question about if you have message people, they've liked your post, but they're not showing any interest, but they continue to like your post. That is okay, because you have done your job. You have planted the seed. Every time you send out a message, you are planting a seed, whether it comes back as an MIA, a flat no, or a maybe later. So don't ever worry. When you're sending messages, do not get hung up on the outcome. Your job is to put it out there. That's it. Once it's out there, then it's on them to, like she said, have FOMO. Laura is the queen of FOMO, and that's the reason she's a coach today. The girl got FOMO and was like, okay, I don't even know what it is, but I don't want to miss out, so how do I do it? And that's where your best people are going to come from. And that's okay. So just know your job is not reliant on the answer. Your job is reliant on how many seeds you're planting every single day. And that's all you have to focus on. Because when you get hung up on the outcome and you get hung up on, well, I sent 10 messages today and only one person responded, you start focusing on the negative instead of saying, I planted 10 seeds for future opportunities. You have to focus on what you're doing positively and not, ooh, what if they say no, or ooh, that. So if they're still liking your stuff, that means that they still like your page. So that's a great sign, and they'll come around. Let me see what the other questions are.
So we didn't really have the lifestyle either when we were first coaches.
Oh, right.
I think you can talk about what you're excited about, or where do you see this taking you? Like, what do people want? Look at this community. I just took a picture from my IG stories because, again, FOMO. Who doesn't want to have a group of really empowering women to be with? There are so many women who are lonely and would love to have a supportive group like we do, right? Maybe it's helping hold you accountable to your fitness journey. I'm telling you, there's no way I would be this consistent with working out at this point in my life if I wasn't a coach. So you talk about that. You talk about the little things. Even if you made $50 last week, what did that help you do? Did that go towards filling up your gas tank? Did that go to help paying a bill? Like, you never underestimate what a little bit amount of money, again, my husband and I have never been in like tons of debt, thank God, but we were like up to here. We got paid on the 1st, and come like the 20th, it was like, okay, I'm really ready for that 1st, right? But so talk about little extra things. Like, I never went on date night with my husband. And not because I didn't want to, but because it was kind of like, do we really need to spend money there? And now we have a date night like almost every week. And in the beginning, when I made $56, like that went to a date night, and that was really fun for me. So talk about those little things, and then also paint the picture of where you're excited that this is taking you. People want to join a train that's moving forward. And it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, just speak about how excited you are. Enthusiasm gets people excited and they want to join you. Does that make sense? And talk about weekly. Yes.
I think being authentic with where you are is super important. Don't get caught up in where you should be. Be authentic in where you are, no matter what that means, because that's what people are attracted to, is just who you are, what you're doing, and just say, I'm freaking brand new. I'm starting my team. I'm super excited. And people will join you from that facet. And honestly, I never have people ask me, okay, well, how long have you been a coach? And like, how established are you? Like, I don't ever get that question, because that's not why they're joining. They're joining because for whatever reason, their personality was attracted to my personality. And they know, like, and trust that I'm going to put them on the right path in the right direction. So they're not looking for my credentials on, how many millions have you made? I'm not there yet, but I will be. Okay, let's make sure there was one on example stories. So if there's any other questions, keep them coming in the chat. We're reading them. So how to post about coaching in your stories and doing polls. Try different things. So it works differently for different people. So what works for somebody might not work for somebody else. And maybe something, the way you say it today versus the way you say it tomorrow. Try everything. And here's what I will tell you too. With social media, it can get so hard. And Instagram is a black hole of death. Don't get caught up following other people and trying to emulate what they're doing. Try not to. Like, if I could encourage you to do anything this week, it would be to put on your social media blinders and don't get on social media other than to post for yourself. post your content, post your stories, because then if you're not clouded by what other people are doing, you can be so much more yourself when you're not thinking, oh, well, I just saw so-and-so post an amazing workout video and now I need to do that, or I need to try to recreate that recipe that they did, or whatever it is that you see somebody doing. It can sometimes make you feel like that's the only option you have to be creative.
And I will tell you, I definitely got caught up in like watching what everybody was, and it's really hard to find your voice. But that's what I said. Like when I post now, I'm like, what would I, on my IG story, like if I was talking to my girlfriends, if Jessica was sitting right here, what would I talk to her like? Like, what would that look like, you know? And I'm going to turn some people off. Like some people are not my cup of tea. That's fine. But to me, that's going to weed people out. Like if you don't want to watch my story because I'm not your vibe, that's fine. But I talk like how I would talk to Jessica. If I was telling her about, oh my God, this opportunity is amazing and I love it because of this, like, oh my gosh, I really want you to, like, what would that conversation look like? So maybe you think about that one person that you're like, oh my gosh, if I could build this business with anybody, it would be her. And then speak to her every single day. And whether or not it's her specifically, you will attract other women who are like her. Right? Because when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So get really specific on who am I talking to? If I was talking to my best friend, what would I say? Right? And same thing in your messages. Like, what would I, if Jessica, you know, or someone, you know, a close friend was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, what is this coaching? What would I say in a conversation to her about what do I do as a coach? Right? Just like straight up. Sometimes I'm super wordy. Rachel Johnstone, I love you, but you and me, girlfriend, are super wordy. That's just our personality. I think we talk too much, but I always have to sometimes read back and be like, would I say this in person to her? Like this message that I wrote, would I, if I was having a conversation, does this sound like how I would talk? And if yes, cool, send. If not, no. Okay. I will also say something that I've been doing in IG is sending a video of myself because I am wordy. So I'll just send a really quick video like, oh my gosh, girl, thanks so much. I would absolutely love to give you more info. I have a video playlist that I can send you that kind of goes over all the answers, or we can jump on a call. Which do you prefer? Boom, send. And they get me in a video to them in their IG messages. You don't have to do that if that's not your vibe. But for me, sometimes that works. Again, I'm always changing it up. What's working, what's not. If I'm getting a million no's, I'm like, self, maybe I should change up my what's working because this isn't working, right? Does that make sense? Let's see what else. Okay.
So
any other questions? Go ahead.
No. Wait to see. The other thing we're going to talk about is making sure that you have a sneak peek opportunity to invite to every month. Now, if you are fresh and you're new and you're nervous and you've never done a sneak peek, of course, jump them into our sneak peek. We do one third Thursday of every month. Laura and Raquel, myself and Rachel, and then we usually have one other coach join us. But if you have been doing coaching for longer than a month, you should do it yourself. And that might be scary and you might be like, ooh, I'm not ready, Brooke. But people want to know your story. Brooke, I'm looking at you because I'm obsessed with you and your transformation is crazy. And your emotional transformation and just everything about you, people want to see you go live. They don't want to see this clown. They want to see you because they saw your rocking transformation. They follow you on social media. So who cares if you do it in a closed private Facebook group? You have 3 people show up. Who the freak cares? Just do it. Tell people what coaching is. Follow our format exactly on Sneak Peek. Recreate the videos, and boom, you may fumble. It may be terrible. I don't even want to know what our first sneak peek looked like when we used to do it on Zoom back in the day. I don't even want to know.
I'm pretty sure they're recorded and they're awful, but it's whatever.
Never going to watch that. I remember our preparation, and that wasn't pretty. There were slides. I'll tell you, there were slides. So that. Whatever. It's whatever. But the point is, you just have to jump. You have to, the whole point of this conversation and the whole point of this call is none of this will work if you don't do it. And none of it will get easier if you don't do it. You just have to do it. Fumble, figure it out. Do a post that sucks. Do a post that falls flat. Do a poll that nobody responds to. I do them almost every day and I don't even care. I pretend like people respond, or I get a pity click from one of you people and I love it. And I give out pity clicks. Every time Laura does a poll, I'm like, more info, more info. She's always responding is like, thanks, Jessica. I'm like, hey, I got you. I want people to see that you've got so many clicks. But for real, you just have to do it. I was pushing, okay, we just built our barn, if you guys follow me. So I was sweeping it out because I'm anal and OCD, and keeping a barn floor clean is like trying to keep the dirt floor clean. It's not possible, but I like to pretend it is. So I am using a push broom, like one of those push brooms from the 80s that they do in the schools. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm about halfway through and I am sweating. And my first thought was, amen, I'm sweating, I'm burning calories. I should probably like have a glass of wine. My second thought was, geez Louise, why is it so hard? Like my muscles are burning. I'm dying. This push broom is so freaking heavy and hard to push. Then I realize I'm doing it wrong. I'm like pushing it so hard, and that's not how it was meant to be done. It just is meant to go in a nice, easy flow, and it's so easy and it pushes it out so beautifully. But I was trying so hard to force it to do what I wanted it to do that it just was not working at all. I was sweating, I was mad, I was hurting. But then when I just stopped and relaxed, and I was just like, that is not how this is supposed to go. It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to go in a flow. It's supposed to be fine. Then it moved beautifully and the whole world made sense again. And I know that's a weird analogy, but the point is, when you try so hard and you spend 90% of your time thinking of why you can't do this, it feels
why it's so hard.
It feels like everyone's going to say no because you're thinking everyone's going to say no. If you focus on everybody that tells you no or everybody that doesn't like your photo, that's all you're going to think about. You have to work and focus on the other part. You have to focus on, I am going to send this week 100 messages out. And that's all I'm going to focus on. I'm going to plant 100 seeds for opportunities that are out there. And don't worry about anything else.
And something that I tell myself, because again, I get a lot of no's, and I just want to be super upfront with you. Like I get a lot of people that tell me no on both challenge groups and coaching. And the one thing that I just tell myself is that, all right, if not you, then someone better. If not you, then someone better. And like, boom, on to the next, right? Because I can't take it personal. I can't. So yes, action. My job is just to invite and then let it take over. The people that are meant to hear it and meant to join my team are gonna join me, no doubt. Which also brings me to this. You are not here by accident. I do not believe in coincidences and I do not believe in accidents, but you were approached at the very right time, and that's why you are here. And it's the same thing for your people. Every time I sit down to work, I'm like, all right, I'm excited to welcome new team members, to reach out to people who need this opportunity and to add them to my team and bring them into my tribe. I'm excited about it. And that's what I do. I go out and I'm like, all right, let me go find my people, right? And if it's not them, no worries. You or someone better. Cool.
Was this helpful? Does it just helpful? More confusing? If you would like to, on the team call thread where we will post the recording and where we will post the calendars, if you have other things that you feel like you're feeling stuck on with coaching that you'd like us to kind of cover in topics or cover in trainings or whatever, put it on there so that we can try to go over it. Because if we're not recruiting, we are not growing. And that has got to be a top focus. And once you get over the hump, it gets so much easier. So we really want to push hard to help us as a team get past that hurdle and make it feel easy and not make it feel like it's like this huge elephant in the room that's holding us back. Okay. Good talk, team.
Yes, guys.
What's
from the bathtub? Can you hear me?
Oh yes, and I'm super jealous of your location right now.
Okay, I have like this habitual offender, I will call her. Every time I post about a challenge group or anything, she says, send me info, send me info, send me info. And I do. And she never responds. and I follow up and she never responds. And then when I post again, send me info, liking my post. How do I break up with my friend? Like, I don't have time for it anymore. I'm investing for a minute and then I'm like, oh yeah, she's finally ready. And then I'm like, okay, here with our crickets for the 80th time. I need to politely break up with her. How do I do that?
So is she for a challenge group or for coaching?
This is for challenge group right now. I think she'd be a great coach if she got her shit together, but we're not there yet.
Do you have an application process?
I do.
Did she fill that out?
She did not.
Okay, then I would not. Yeah, I would say fill out this application, and once you do, we'll hook up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I would just leave it at that. That's what I do like about applications is if they're not willing to fill that out. Same thing with the video playlist. If they're not willing to watch the coaching video playlist, it's 40 minutes. They're probably not going to be invested as a coach. So then I don't waste time getting on the phone call. I don't ever get on the phone with somebody until they've watched the video because A, they don't even know what questions they need to ask me because I've never seen it. They don't even know what's going on. And then B, they're probably going to get on a phone call and they'll never hear from them again. And then I'll be pissed that I wasted my time.
Yeah.
I mean that in the nicest way.
No, I know. I'm pissed too because she's constantly sending me info and I do. And it's like every time I start talking about money or what it is, she just stops talking.
Yeah, so I would do an app and then say, once you fill it out, we'll get connected. And then send her a share cart and then she has it forever. When you're ready, you click buy.
That's a really good idea. Just send it. Yeah,
just say, here, you've got it in your inbox. And then if she says send info, you've got it in your inbox. Good day.
I know. Yes, girl, bye. Okay.
Any other questions before we hop off?
Real quick, y'all, you talked about an application. I have an application, like a Google survey that's linked up on my Instagram. I've only mentioned it like once or twice, so I know that's also why I haven't gotten anything from it, but I feel like I have too much on it that could maybe scare people. So what all do you suggest having on like an oncoming kind of application, even if it's just for a challenger? I don't have a coach application or anything like that, but just as a challenger application.
Let me post a link to mine. Hold on. I'm looking for mine.
Keep it super simple.
But I also think, like, what is it that you would want to do?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Keep it simple. Like, do one open-ended block that's like, tell me what you want to gain. Like, tell me about your top priorities and goals. Make sure that's in there. So contact information, and I always like to say, which I need to change mine to say this too, how'd you find me? So that you know what's working. Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Where are they coming from? How'd you find me? And then tell me your top goals and priorities. What do you want most out of this? Because a lot of times if you just leave it open-ended, people will dump their story. And that's what you need to kind of learn about.
For
challengers.
Jessica's. So I just posted mine. Let me see if I can get Jessica's real quick. I'm just going to stalk you on. Well, I don't know where it is, but.
Well, clearly that's not good. Social media audit right there should be easier to find.
Yes, it should be.
I don't feel good about that.
But I'm on Facebook. I think it's. Yeah, I can't find it, but maybe you can post it in the comments below of this recording. We'll post ours in the comments of the recording so that you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to get that. I'm like not on my phone, but yeah, I know it's on IG. I was just looking on Facebook. Cool.
All right, galleys, have a wonderful evening, a most wonderful week. See you on the social.